Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things Mecha. Jumpship incoming.
And welcome to the next episode of Mobile Armor Radio. This is episode 30. We're up to 30, guys. That's pretty impressive.
Wow.
And I'm Rob.
And I'm Chopper.
And I'm Brian.
I think you did an order. I think Brian was supposed to be second.
I think we did too. I was waiting for him to say something, but he didn't, so I just jumped in there.
It worked out. I shouldn't have said anything because it worked.
Just to change it up a little bit.
Well, I'll be honest with you, it felt weird.
You're like, I never say it after him.
Well, I think it's because in the agenda I'm listed as last.
Well, that's the list of who goes when. I had to write that down so that I remember that I'm after Pat. That's what I've learned. And frankly, I thought last episode was Brian's episode until I remembered, oh yeah, Pat had an episode. Shows what we know.
Yeah.
We keep very, very good records of the shows we've recorded.
Very professional. I think you guys can tell. We're professionals. Yeah, 100%. So this is episode 30 for December. It's December. It's almost the end of the Annus Horribilis, so it's the end of 2020, so thank God.
Ugh. Let's hope it only gets better. I mean, it wasn't so bad for some, really horrible for others, but all in all, not the best year ever.
But Brian, it's probably a good year for you.
It's had some really good high points for me, personally, but I understand if everybody else is like 2020 is kind of garbage.
So for years coming, you'll be like, everybody will be like, oh, 2020, worst year ever. And you're like, no, it's good. I like that year.
You know.
I mean, it was probably a better year for most nerds and geeks like ourselves, but really horrible for most others.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next episode we'll have a look back on the year, see if there's anything exciting. But
a retrospective on 2020.
That's right. We'll have a retrospective.
The distant future.
But we're going to now go into the dropship, and we'll talk about what we've been working on.
Dropship landing.
Welcome to the dropship. We've been working on stuff, hopefully, maybe. And we'll start with Brian. Brian, you've been working on anything?
Not in the Mecha-related area necessarily. I think I've reported previously on my little Star Wars Dead Zone project. There's been, I think, one latest addition to that since last time. I think so. Was I made a little Obi-Wan Kenobi out of a Enforcer Pathfinder body.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Mazel tov.
And but yeah, that it was actually kind of fun to paint because I did this last painting project for me. I did try to experiment a bit more with painting white on things and kind of working with like grayscale and dry brushing techniques and stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun. And then like I really like how it came together because most of these models do not look Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so kind of getting them pseudo close is just, that fun combination of like, it's very, your eye catches it and your mind goes, hey, that's Star Wars. And then you look at it and it's like, it's still very much its own model and design and fits into this other world. And so it's still very much at home. It was a fun little project. It's going to continue at some point, but I won't lie, I do kind of have that hankering to start making some Strider Gundams again. And I've got a couple kits of some Strider mechs, so we'll see if that comes together soon. But yeah, otherwise not too much on the hobby table at the moment. How about you, Pat?
Me, not a super lot. I did prime and base coat some more of Devastator, but I didn't get too much to work in. I got a little behind. Was doing a lot of reading, which I'll talk about more in the ComStar, but for some reason, whenever I do a lot of reading, I don't get a lot of work done down in the basement. I can only do one or the other, and I don't know what that is. You would think I'd be able to. But that being said, I also been working a lot of overtime to save up for Christmas gifts to give and buy and stuff. So a little bit of both, not enough time, and reading and not going down in the basement instead have contributed to my not a lot of working. But I went down there a couple of times. And I started working on it some more. I'm at the point now where I should start posting pictures, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I also got some new paint, some new Vallejo Air. They had a new set of greens out that I think might actually work really good for the green on Devastator. I might not have to do a multi-step process just to get the green I like. So I'm also gonna when I get a second to actually get down there again and mess around some more, I will try out that Vallejo green. It's almost a dead-on match to the box, so I'm kind of excited about it.
I have a Vallejo green I bought when I was going to do my Acid Storm Thundercracker turn into Acid Storm, so it's probably similar. Very fluorescent.
Yes.
Yeah. Vallejo has a lot of good colors, so.
Yeah. And it's a good looking color, so.
Very cool.
Rob, you got anything going on?
3D printing as always. I did print, I backed a Kickstarter for some STLs called Cyberpunk Legacy by Miniature Underground. I'll put the link to where you can buy them now on, my miniature factory, is that what it's called? But I printed a mech. He's pretty cool. He's, I like him. He's quite big. He's 28mm scale, so he's quite large. And,
I was curious on the scale. Like, I looked at those links that you sent earlier, and I'm like, this is some really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's all 28mm. So, well, obviously, STLs you can always scale, but it's built to be 28mm. And I did it really high quality, so it took me about a week to print him. But he turned out really nice, so I can't wait to paint him up. I also got more Kids Logic, the Macross stuff. I got 22 to 24, which was a VF-1D Battloid, 3 heavy missile battle pods, and 3 Zentradi. Finally, some actual not mech guys. The Zentradi are similar scaled, obviously, but yeah, pretty cool. It would be fun to paint those guys up too. So I got to start painting some of these Kid Logic. I've only painted some that I got for Battletech stuff, but I haven't painted any of the actual.
I hate for the time when the day comes when you're allowed back in this country and then you bring all the Kid Logic that you've been holding for me.
I have a pile of stuff for you. There's not just that. There's like a literal pile in my corner of my bedroom of Pat stuff. I won't have to bring any clothes because it'll just be all Pat's toys that I have in my livage. But yeah.
Well, that's good though, because all the stuff that I have is waiting around here for you.
It'll replace the stuff I give you, yes.
Yeah, especially
once again, I won't have any room for clothes. So.
Especially that giant killer robot one.
Yeah, that'll be the whole suitcase. That's yeah. I have too much. Well, we should have seen each other at least once since we've got all this stuff. So that's the problem. It's going to be like over a year.
Should have been twice.
Yeah, that's true. So
no, you're right. Maybe once because you did come for C2E2, and that was the last thing we did.
Yeah, C2E2 was last time, which was March. No, wait, February, end of February. Beginning of March? It was right around there anyways. And
it was end of February, beginning of March, and then the world just went to crap from there.
Yeah, literally when I got home. I think I worked, I got sick when I got home, and I worked like one day, and then we got shut down. But I didn't get COVID when I got home. I just got airplane sick. Somebody coughed on me in the airport. So luckily it was just the flu instead of, or whatever it was.
You got the plague.
You got the con crud.
Well, it was actually at the airport. This girl coughed on me. I was like, really? And then that was before the everything exploded. So
did she get right up in your face and said, "Hey, boy"?
Pretty much. It was pretty bad. Anyways, enough of my sickness and enough of what we did because we haven't done much. I haven't been painting anything lately. It's been weird. I have to start painting again. I have so much Battletech stuff, but I have to paint some of it.
We need to sit down and have another hobby night.
Yeah.
We've stayed away from those too long. We should just get that taken care of and do it.
I need to join on one of those sometime.
You should, man.
It's the only time I get anything done. It's when I'm forced to, when I'm just sitting here having to talk to these schmoes. So it's otherwise I have too many other things to do, which we'll get to in ComStar.
There you go.
That's a segue.
Transition.
Message from ComStar.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Rick.
From Dead Zone the Podcast.
And you're listening to
Mobile Armor Radio.
Okay, welcome to ComStar. TVs, movies, books, comics, RPGs, video games, whatever we're going to talk about here.
That scared me.
Why?
You just out of the blue screamed.
Well, I don't know why it was loud. Yeah, so we'll start with Pat this time. Pat, what have you been watching, reading, doing?
What I've been doing. So I finished up Brian Young's book. I always forget the name of the damn title.
Honor's Gauntlet.
Honor's Gauntlet. And it was really good for a clan book. I did enjoy the character. Well, that's for sure. I mean, like you were saying when we talked with Brian, it was a good way to make the bad guy be the hero.
Yeah,
in a sense. So I really dug it. Really dug the crazy. I don't know if I should even talk about it too much because people might want to read it.
Yeah, you can't give any spoilers, but
but I really did like the crazy. I'll call it just the crazy bad guy of the book. It really, the way he portrayed the bad guy, you really made him think that person was really off his kilter. You know, like what? Do you even understand how warfare works?
Well,
do you even understand? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what how resources work in war?
It's a much more complicated version of do you even lift, bro?
Yeah, do you lift, bro? Do you even lift?
Yeah, it seems to be in that timeline, especially if the Jade Falcons are especially insane, which is unique because they're always pretty aggressive, but in the
that was
newest timeline, they're
aggressive to a fault.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like crazy aggressive. Yeah.
I can almost see like it heading into a Jade Falcon revolution, civil war kind of thing.
Civil war, yeah, that's what I see. Yeah, we'll see.
But it was really good. So if you haven't read it, grab it. If you can get it from your local bookstore and help those guys out during these times, that'd be great. If not,
I got on Catalyst's site the ebook of it, so you can read it. Just download it right off their site. I think it was like $4, $5, something like that, and that's nice. Canadian probably.
So that's $1.50 American.
Yeah, it was relatively priced for you want to read some good fiction. There you go. They have tons of books there too.
And then I started reading our good longtime follower and listener John Bear Ross's book. That was next on the list. So I started delving into that and I'm enjoying it so far. Yep.
Yeah, it's he's not writing them fast enough. John, if you're listening, write them fast.
Yeah. Don't be a R.R. Martin.
Yes. We need the next installment.
We don't want the TV show to pass you up. So
that'd be a great TV show. Somebody said that Netflix was looking for like anime to make some kind of anime or into a live action show.
Someone.
Man, that would be great. Great series.
Does anyone know anyone at Netflix? Hit up John. John, let's get that pitch going, buddy.
Yeah, get your agent on that because that would be a great TV show. Because it's a unique IP and it's unique like story too. Like it's. And
all we ask is that we get a little special thanks to radio in the credits. That's all we're asking.
Right.
No, we should just be a radio station in the world. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice too.
Yeah, advertising.
I finished off the rest of the remake Star Blazers. There was a time when I started that a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of stopped for something else and I forget. And I realized that I had all these movies in my Amazon Prime library. I was like, what the hell's all this Star? Oh, I never finished rewatching it.
Yeah.
So I finished all that too. Really good. I still, that'll probably always be my favorite anime show since it was kind of my first in a sense. So that I actually got to watch on TV. That's a tube TV.
A tube.
Now, were you saying that were you watching the remake of it, or were you watching the original?
I was watching the remake. There was a remake, 2077 or 2177. No, 2177 is the second half of that. 2077 is the original series remade.
Is it 2199?
It might be that.
I think 77 might be Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I have that a little bit on the brain too because one of the things I was wasting time with, well, I shouldn't say wasting time, but one of the things I was doing instead of going down painting was making a character with the new rules, doing the whole complete package, which we talked about in the special mobile arm radio that just came out about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun. But I'll tell you what, though, with the complete package, you do have a lot less money than you do. And so you either have to be really poor and no stuff to get the cyberware, or you get the stuff and have no cyberware.
I just like that idea of like, this is the real version. You have no money.
Yeah, I think that they want you to have no money, so it gives you drive to go on missions. And
yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of money. Don't get me wrong on my character, but I did have a certain idea how I want the character to look now, and that costed a little bit of money in clothes.
Yeah, so you did the right thing. It's all about style.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, but I figured
don't make that charisma a dump stat.
you can always get money and get cyberware, so that's the good thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's in that game. It's pretty easy. Get one mission, you get some stuff. I don't think your pre-made characters had much cyberware anyways. I think it was eyes and stuff like that. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't super
stuff.
lot.
No, it wasn't, because you always wanted it. I remember we were playing the Jumpstart kit before we had the full rules. You wanted to get arm guns and stuff. I'm like, it's not in the rules yet. But now it is. Now you can get arm guns. You just have to save up for them. Anything else?
I wanted to, because there's that period of Battletech where I just stopped reading the lore in the books because I was game frustrated. We'll call it game frustrated, not fluff frustrated, with the system that I just kind of avoided reading pretty much everything after the
invasion,
the clan invasion. Yeah, so
you've read like nothing because everything is after the clan invasion.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But I did read the Kerensky, the trilogy of the Kerensky, whatever, Children of Kerensky, is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, I did read that, and I think there was something else I read, but I wanted to maybe fill in the holes. So, like during the jihad times and all that other stuff. So I was kind of looking on the webpage to kind of on the internets to figure out which of the best of the books. Yeah, where the more relevant books to read than rather read all of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been reading them all in world chronological order, and I'm up to the Twilight of the Clans, they call it. It's kind of like when the Inner Sphere fights back, and yeah, there's still tons. I haven't got to the jihad area, so
that's
Did
next.
You call it jihad? I always call it jihad. I think you called it the wrong name.
No, I said that in mocking.
And then I called it the right name. See?
I tricked you.
I haven't read any of that either, so I'm excited to get into. Like right now, I'm finally into areas I've never read before, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is all anticipation for when I finish John's series, and then once I'm done with that, then I'm going to move on to these new Battletech books and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at. Brian, what do you got going on?
Well, I forget if I mentioned last time. It would have been right around the time of the recording. I think I finished up reading the X-Wing Rogue Squadron book from like the Legends series of Star Wars. So that was like Wedge Antilles and his crew after the Battle of Endor, in the Legends timeline, you could say. Mm-hmm. It was a really fun read. It's fun to look back at like the way tone was conveyed. Or like I think writing in general, especially when it was tied to a property, like I don't know what I'm mostly getting at. It was like one of those things where like there's so many callbacks to like the movie events and stuff like that. Where the fan service was really strong in some parts. Yeah. Whereas I think a lot more fiction these days is even if it is tied into another property, there's a little bit more comfortability to kind of stand on their own in some cases. Mm-hmm. I'm not coming down on the book series. Like it was a really fun read and everything like that. It was just one thing I kind of noticed, like, this is something that is different nowadays. Because I think that book even came out before episode 1. Like
the
Phantom
that was
Menace.
the dark times, yeah, for sure. It was all written between when it looked like Star Wars was over. Like it was, you had those first 3 movies and that was it. And then you had all these other books. Mm-hmm, and so a lot of it was just trying to appeal to the fans of those first 3 movies. And they told a totally different story. And I read them back in the day. I don't remember much about them, but I remember reading them.
And then, so it was fun. I always kind of go back and forth. I've got some of the more newer Star Wars books that are not of the Legends set, and I've got a couple of the Legends sets. So I'm like, I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes it's like, okay, sometimes it takes me a little bit to wrap my head around. It's like, okay, these events are what's happening.
Yeah. What is actually real and what is not real? Does Luke have a wife?
Yeah. I did read the first of the Thrawn trilogy.
Those are the great
of the original one by Timothy Zahn.
Mm-hmm. That's a good book.
Mm-hmm. But apart from that, still on the Star Wars note, I have been watching The Mandalorian. Has been pretty fun.
Yes.
With the new season that's come out. So I won't spoil anything that's come out so far, but it's been got some exciting developments already in place with some characters that were from the Clone Wars and Rebels TV series that were definitely among my favorite characters. Are some of them are at least allegedly going to be showing up at this moment. So exciting times. Dave Filoni is really good about that kind of stuff. He's like he was the big showrunner for Clone Wars and Rebels, and he and like Jon Favreau are kind of the two at the head of the Mandalorian project.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dave Filoni is essentially like George Lucas's protege. Like, he's the guy that knows Star Wars.
He knows everything is happening, yeah.
And he's got to hear him talk too. Like they did some interviews with him that are on Disney Plus. And like he talks about it with a great joy, for the universe and the space and everything like that. Star Wars is definitely one of those fandoms where there will be those set of fans that get really contentious, or defensive about certain things. Right.
What?
And even like the movies, like I know there's like actors that really feel like, hey, this could really, like, acting in a Star Wars movie brings a whole bunch of baggage, and like people decide to go on a film based on that. It's like, do I really want to deal with that kind of stuff? But it was really cool, like, seeing the people behind the scenes for the Mandalorian project in particular, because there is a great love of the franchise, and an openness to new paths within it. So that was actually more of a tangent than I planned it to be. But other things that after I finished Star Wars, the Rogue Squadron book, I wound up playing the Rogue Squadron 3D game on PC. Played through that whole campaign because it holds up pretty well, actually. I remember playing it back on the N64 days, and it recently came out, or maybe not recently, came out on Steam, and it was much more compatible than the Good Old Games version that I got.
Oh yeah.
And I was able to play with like a controller and everything. It was had its little wonkiness, but for the most part, it was pretty fun. It's another like else timeline now, which is no longer canon.
Did they steal the Death Star plans? I like the fact that there's like 1,800 different retellings of how the Death Star plans got stolen, and they're all different.
Right. That one was like, I think it's Luke Skywalker leading Rogue Squadron between, the A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, I think is the timeline that they give us. And but no, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's kind of a fun pick up and play kind of space combat game. You really don't see many of them these days, but I suppose there is that new EA Squadron, Star Wars Squadrons game. I haven't played that yet, but that looks fun. So I played that along with reading the book, and then after that, I went and read. There was I found a Dead Zone anthology book series that I had missed on the Dead Zone website, or the Mantic website, and it was like the Dead Zone dossiers. Mm-hmm. And I originally, I think I'd skimmed past it because I remember they used to have free files that were called, Dead Zone dossiers, and it was just basically like the little blurbs about each faction. But then I looked at it a little closer and I was like, oh wow, there's like 120 odd pages of like short stories collected in there, including one where the heroine in it is running around in a beat up little Strider. I think they're on Nexus Psi actually. So if anyone that knows Dead Zone knows, not a lot of great things went down on Nexus Psi. But it was really cool to read that mecha action, as it were. And so now that I finished those books, I've decided to pick up a continuation of a series that I started reading a while back. It was the series is called like the Confederation novels. It's a series of stories by Tanya Huff. And it's this fun, like military sci-fi series that follows, this really awesome female sergeant in this multi-species military, and fighting these different campaigns. And it really, like reading those books, really has a fun Dead Zone feel to it. Like it's if the GCPS had a lot more alien species worked into it. Like it's a very realized series, and the characters are a lot of fun. The first book, the whole theme of it is modeled after I think the Zulu conflict in Britain. So if you've ever seen that movie Zulu, where it's the red Brit, the redcoats and the British being attacked by the Zulu warriors down in Africa.
Being slaughtered.
I mean,
they shouldn't have been.
Yes. There's but the sequence of events is kind of modeled after that in a really up to date way and in a sci-fi setting, really creative. And the character, like there's I think 5 novels. Let's see, I got them in front of me actually. Yeah, 5 in the original series that follows this woman's military career, and then there's a couple novels that take place afterwards, and so I'm starting on the first one of that. But it's such it's a great fast read. My brother found the series for like $1.65 at a library auction kind of thing, and he's like, "You should read this. It's really good." I agree. This book is fantastic. So definitely check that out. It's the first one is I think it's The Heart of Valor by Tanya Huff, and it's good. It's very good. I'm excited to pick the rest of that up. Then the other thing that I got kind of going on is I have been playing through Xenogears, the old PlayStation 1 classic, as it were, which is I've finally gotten to the part where we got a lot more mechs at play. And it's a weird combination of like the style is kind of like G Gundam as far as like mech designs. It's a weird world where it's kind of part fantasy, part sci-fi, where like the world seems really low tech, but then all of a sudden we're going to have airships and sand ships that are submarines in the sand, and there's mechas around.
JRPGs
no one's really
for you though.
Yeah.
They're all like that kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the first. I think there were several spin-off series of it, including Xenosaga, which is another JRPG that had, I think I tied in back when we covered like RPGs in Mecha. That was one that had, you could summon in your giant robot during your RPG fight. And then I think is a Xenoblade, which is another really popular one, I think on Nintendo. And I think Xenogears was the original, and it's been kind of neat because I think it had. I was surprised to find out it had a lot of the development team around it that worked on another of my favorite games, Chrono Cross, including the musical composer and some of the writing team. In fact, there's a character from Chrono Trigger that shows up in the game. It was a bizarre moment, but no. So I've been playing through that. It is one of those things that hit me where I'm like, wow, I'm like 25 hours in, and I admit I've had a guide open just because I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on this game. So I'm like just trying to avoid like pitfalls and stuff. So it's like, hey, here's a good configuration for your mech going into this battle. It's like, okay, protection from beams, that makes sense. But like looking ahead, it's like, okay, you're on chapter like 22 out of like 60. And I'm just like, I'm 20 hours in, guys. They made games differently back then. It's kind of a blast from the past in that respect too. Yeah,
they made them to actually kind of go for a little bit,
Mm-hmm. And I haven't been like grinding or anything. It's been, for the most part, moving through that main storyline. So that's been kind of a neat thing. There's a whole lot of names in that game. It's really hard to follow. There's like, I think 5 different nations at war with each other, but a couple work together, so their names blend together. It's a weird game, but I'm enjoying it. And the reason I kind of hope I'm trying to get through it quickly is I do still want to play like Zone of the Enders, which I know is a very different style of game, and maybe I'll just start playing that on the side or something to get that fix in, because I like that. That's a fun mecha game, and I'm looking forward to playing. So that's enough about me ranting on things. Rob.
Well, I don't think you're quite done, because as the resident Dead Zone expert, you have to tell us about the new mech that they just showed off.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that thing.
Yeah, the Mantic Day just happened a few days back from the time of this recording, and they announced the Forge Fathers are getting a new sub-faction, the Artificers, and included within that is a new mech for the Forge Fathers that has it looks like a large kind of like power loader suit kind of thing mixed with the Iron Ancestor that their force is known for, is their main mech. And it looks really cool. It sounds like it's going to be very interchangeable as far as like weapons, like parts and stuff, and that I believe Rob said that they were building it so that it could be magnetized very easily to swap those parts on and off. So that's pretty exciting. It's a really cool looking design, and I also like that there's like a whole bunch of new units that are getting like third arms, like robotic arm attachments and stuff like that. And I'm really curious how those will come into play, if they count as like hard points where you can put other weapons and equipment and stuff like that.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Just to let everybody know, the Forge Fathers are like space dwarves, so they're all got their hammers and their long beards, but they're Pretty cool.
Space
They're like
Vikings.
squats.
No, they're not. Don't even say that.
They're better than squats, though.
They have knees, and they don't look stupid.
There were some good Forge Father chapters in that anthology series I was talking about.
Is that the one that has the one about Pad and the? Is that a different one with the one guy with his dog who's got a robot leg? The one
I think
Forge
that's
Father?
a different one.
Oh,
I think that's a. This one had like Brockers on a planet that only has like a small window where like weather is calm enough for people to come in and get them off planet.
I don't know if I've actually read that book. I might be like you and have missed it.
It's good. And it was only like $7 US, so I definitely recommend it.
$20 Canadian.
There was only really one chapter that was just or one story in there that was kind of weird. But to me, I think it was just told in a perspective that I kind of had trouble wrapping my head around. But the rest of them were like, all really good. There's even like a marauder, like some kids hire marauders to take them on like a dead zone safari. Like some really fun creative stuff.
Cool. Yeah. So that's cool. The Artificers. Yeah. So that's coming for Dead Zone soonish. Is that it, Brian?
Yeah.
For me, I've continued watching Votoms, and I got to the second arc now. Now they're in. It's like Vietnam. It's really. The first arc was a little slow going, but now it's really good. It's like 08th MS team and with
nice.
In the Votoms world, which was before that, and pretty neat. Like it's got two sides, and neither side's very good. And then our hero stuck in the middle. So it's Votoms is getting good.
I think I shared recently too that I think they have the complete collection on Blu-ray now from Right Stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I wouldn't mind getting that. I've never seen Votoms, but I've heard great things. So
yeah, it's worth it. It's I think 56 episodes, 52 episodes. There's quite a few episodes, anyways, for that series. So
yeah, it looks very good. I think that's my next thing to watch.
Yeah, it's on High Dive is where I found it. You get a if you want to watch it quick, I think you can get a free month, but it would be hard to watch it all in a month. But even though it's still it's like $50 a year or something like that, it's not a horrible price. So that's good. What else is happening? Oh, I got the Battletech Clan box set. If you've seen on our YouTube, I shared it. I did an unboxing. I can't wait to get into that stuff, but I'll put the link to that in the show notes if you haven't watched it yet. You can see what I got. Lots of fun stuff. It's all
stinking clan models.
Not all of it. There's a few Inner Sphere stuff, but I was
Yay.
The stuff I went for was Clan Wolf, so I got my Clan Wolf shirt, and which I love the shirt. And there's coins, which are like challenge coins, which I love. Which I think I ordered some more.
The pins look really cool.
Yeah, pins are really nice. The dice, I think the dice were the only thing weren't good. The dice were pretty cheap, but everything else was really good. I'm very excited for Wave 2, which I ordered a lot more, so we'll be getting that in, I think it's supposed to be coming in March or somewhere like that. The only other thing was that a new trailer for Cyberpunk 2077 came out, and there's a mech. Brian, you were asking if there's mechs in it, and I said there's only construction ones. This looks like a police mech, so it looks like an actual combat mech.
It's a pet labor.
Yeah, a little more stubby. It's more like I don't know, like an Irby, I guess. But
if it's really for the cops, I'm definitely switching my character over to a lawman now.
I don't know if I don't know if you get to play it in the game. Probably you get to fight it in the game. I would be surprised, but it looked cool. It was marching around. It was small. It looks like a Strider actually. It was kind of small, like bigger than a powered suit, but still not huge. But fun times. So there you go. Can't wait for Cyberpunk. It should be coming out in a couple weeks by the time this comes out, and I'm super excited. So, yeah, we got that going for us. That's about it. I think we might as well get on to the MechBay Hanger, where we talk about something very important.
It's all important.
Now entering the MechBay Hanger.
And welcome to the MechBay Hanger. This time, it's December. I think we do this every December, if I'm not mistaken. If not, we should. It's the Christmas wish list.
What do you guys want? Christmas.
I think we did last year, yeah.
What do you guys want that you want coming out, or that you wish was coming out? Not necessarily. I know Pat has an actual list that he hopes someone will actually buy him stuff. So
every year I put together the practical list and then the if you really want to spoil me list.
Well, we'll do round table here. We'll go one each. So we'll start with Pat. What's your first thing that you want?
All right. So I will bring the thing that's always on my list because I doubt anyone will buy it because the thing costs $1.5 million. Is the big giant Neo Zeong mobile Gundam suit thing I wanted? That one that's about the size. No, I have a suit, but not the big giant Neo Zeong one. Zhong.
Huge.
Yeah, it's we posted it last year. I know we did pictures where the box is about the size of a small woman.
Oh, that one. Yeah,
that one.
So it's still on the list.
Oh yeah, I mean that thing is at least $1,000, I think, if I remember right. And it's hard to get in the States, so it has to come from Japan. So yeah, that'll be on the list until one day I will have you.
You have to win the lottery.
Yeah, or something.
Who's
that? Brian, what's on your list?
Well, I got similarly one that's I think I've mentioned in the past. That's still on my list and hopeful for someday, though probably not the near future is fine. As I'm limited on space, but I would like to get my hands on an SDF-1. I've always loved the design of that spaceship, and especially the one that has the two like literal aircraft carriers for arms. Mm-hmm. It's so classic. It's so like it's a kit bashed flying fortress. I just love the design.
Is it a big one?
I know there's a couple big ones. I would like one that has a decent amount of detail.
I do have one, but it's not a big one.
No, it's small. Yeah.
Though I admittedly I'm not opposed to a smaller one because those are easier to display.
Yeah, same with that Neo Zeong. Where are you going to put it? That's always the question.
Right.
Well, I'll find a place. If someone gets me that, I will find a place for that. That's not going to be a problem. There'll be. I might have to get rid of my dog, but there'll be a spot for it.
Oh. So that's kind of the first one I got on my list. How about you, Rob?
SDF-1 was always it was going to be on my list, but I didn't put it on there because I haven't seen one I really wanted yet. Oh, there was that light up one that Kids Logic did. That thing was crazy. It had all the lights in it, and it was just, once again, ridiculously priced. But my first one is something I always look for, and it's hard to find. They used to make them, but I think they're all out of print now. I can't find them anywhere. Is a nice Pat Labor model. Maybe Hobbylink Japan. I should check that, because they might have them in Japan.
Actually, I was just going to say, there are quite a few ones on there.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I want, I've been looking for one. It's hard to find. And I do want a nice paddle board. That's, I think, underrepresented in my collection. I don't have anything from them, so that is my first one, is that. And, for obvious reasons, because it's cool. What about you, Pat?
Well, so these will go on my next year's Christmas list. I'm just kind of messing around, but if I was more diligent, I would have noticed these things first. But I found on Gundam Planet that they have models of the new Ultraman suits from the Netflix cartoon one. So they're really cool. They have the clear acrylic looking things for their weapons that, with the rings and the forearm blast that he does. They even have the other Ultraman suit wearing guy from the Netflix show. If you haven't watched it, there's two, who's armed with a sword, and they even got him too. And they're fully posable. much like the Furai kits, but these are Bandai, even made by Bandai. So,
are they actual kits? They're not just action figures?
No, these are actual model kits.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're fully posable and they come apart. They look really good. So I really would like to get all 3 of these kits.
Nice.
And just the weapon attachments, like the little laser rings and the forearm blast that they could put on there, make the model look even that much cooler. So,
very nice. Ultraman's fun.
Yeah. There's the B-type too, the red guy.
Brian, what's next for you?
Well, I've always had a soft spot for the series Outlaw Star, and I'd love to have the spaceship from that as well. It's all red. If it'd be sweet. I don't know if this exists. This is among the. This would be really cool. But like, you know, it's designed like a space shuttle, right? Where it has like a nose at one end and boosters on the other, and then it has, they call them like grappler arms, right? And which really just kind of turn out to be like the arms you'd see on a spaceship, right? That are, you know, come out to do tools and tasks and stuff like that. Well, they, of course, in this series, they spec them out to carry like weapons and stuff, and they have ship-to-ship combat where you're swinging battle axes at each other. Like, it's a fun series. But I have always really liked that spaceship. I think that would be a really fun one to have.
Cool.
I forgot to mention on these, sorry to interrupt, but I forgot to mention on these Ultraman kits, they come with a little LED thing that you put inside the middle, light up the eyes and the little chest thing.
Pats has been staring at the Ultraman guys this whole time. He didn't listen to anything you said, Brian.
I did too. I heard about the space shuttle,
I understand.
the nose and the boosters, and
my next one, which is something I could get, but I just haven't yet, is the Robotech Archives trade paperbacks. They have a whole, I don't even know how many, 5 or 6 of them. It's the old Robotech comics. They've put them in big collections, and they do have quite a bit of omnibus collection going. So I wish they're hardcovers. I think they're softcover, which is not as appealing.
No.
But still,
too bad.
It'd be cool to get those. Yeah, I wish they did the like oversized hardcovers, like actual omnibus of them. I don't even know who owns the rights to Robotech. I'm not even sure who's putting those out. But
would it be Harmony Gold and, well, I don't know if they'd own the rights to, I imagine they would own the rights yet.
Well, they license it out, right? So I wonder what I'm going to look at what company actually put out. But yeah, they're big books full of the different series. And let's see who actually puts these out. I think originally they were like Mirage or someone did them, but I don't really think it says. Yeah, it's funny. They, I don't know, originally, who knows, but now they are, just cool. 350 pages each one is, so it's a couple of the series put together. And, yeah, they're fun. And it looks like they're about $35. That's pretty good price for that many pages, so. I will get them. It's just, there's quite a few of them. That's the only problem. Cause they have all like they have the Masters, they have the Sentinels, they have the Macross, so they have all the different series. You have to get them all and collect them all. So
yeah, it would be cool if they put them all together and went to be giant omnibus. Like,
wow.
Do we know who's put? You said we don't know who owned it, but who did you say was putting them out?
That's what I said. I don't even know. It doesn't even say.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't know who owned it. I didn't know.
Well, I know.
You think Marvel put it out?
No, that's not Marvel. No, that's what I'm saying. It's. I think it must be a. Like some companies just buy the rights to the old comics because the comics probably reverted back to Harmony Gold. So somebody else is putting them out now, but I can't remember who did them originally. Fun stuff though, but I do want those. But yeah, you got to collect them all. The problem is the other thing is some go to print, so you can't get them all. That's always a pain in the ass. Anyways, yep, that was my next one. How about you, Pat? Got anything else? I know you have more. You always have more.
I do. I have more. I would love to have a perfect grade Charzaku.
Nice.
It's not the most expensive of the perfect grade ones, but it's up there. It's not like a unicorn or a Exia.
Yeah.
Those things are ridiculously expensive, but Char's the band. Zaku's the bomb. Zigzion. So, right?
Well, the next one I kind of have on my list that kind of speaking to Robotech, I think it would be really cool is if we got a U.S. release of the Macross franchise, and probably
you and
not,
every other fan of Macross.
Well, I just feel bad. Like I'm the kind of person that's like, you can enjoy Robotech. There's nothing wrong with enjoying Robotech. You can enjoy Macross. There's nothing wrong with enjoying Macross. Just let each other kind of play.
You just want the choice to watch what you want to watch.
I'd love to do it legally.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at.
I want to do it without being threatened.
Well, yeah, because you just can't. Yeah, it's just not streamed anywhere. Or you can't buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have made some movements in that direction with the most recent series Delta, I believe you could get on Blu-ray with English subtitles. But it was imported from Japan.
Yeah.
So it is $40 for like 4 episodes or something like that. But I think that would be we've seen so many collections of classic anime series get find new audiences even through distribution, as it were. You look at like Bubblegum Crisis, you got Pat Labor, the Votoms. Yeah. There's so many more out there that have kind of followed that suit. And I feel like Macross would be a great one in part because of how much like the music is carries you through like time, as it were. Cause the next series in that timeline was like 80s rock. And then it went, I'm trying to remember, let's see. Then it went Zero was just kind of out there.
The grunge.
Well, we had some industrial pop, from the 90s.
Yeah.
And then we had more kind of contemporary, J-pop. And then we have like the which was like still like idol bands. And now we have like the ensemble bands is the latest craze. And so like it is that fun kind of time capsule going through, especially considering that they did keep it one continuous timeline. It is all from that original series. I think they're like up to over 40 years might be even more than 40 years into the future at this point, because they do like big decade kind of jumps. Yeah. And I mean, even in real time, they usually take like a good couple of years before they come out with another. Usually like 5 years before they even start the next series. But it helps keep it fresh. And but that would be something I think would really be cool for the an international audience to have better legal access to.
Well, there's only one thing that's different from Macross and all those other ones, and that's a little company called Harmony Gold.
It's true.
They're just blocking it all. They're like, we own the rights to North America version of this, and that's it. It's like, well, yeah, but it's not the same thing. Like, you can have both. Yeah. Or they demand money from them, and they're like, screw you, we're not paying you more money already,
Yeah. I know licensing the music would be another thing that would just tank any kind of budget that you've got.
Was it like real musicians and real music, or was it just for the show?
Oh yeah, it was it was a lot of stuff for the show, I'm pretty sure. But at the same time, like, these were full-blown musicians that have musical careers that were doing the voicing of the musical numbers. And so that was like, okay, well, you're going to be licensed to show. Well, you have to pay to have the music. That's what happened with Evangelion when it went to Netflix, is they didn't want to pay the rights for the Fly Me to the Moon ending. Yeah. And even though it wasn't a Frank Sinatra version of the song, which I have thoughts on that. But anyway, Rob, what's next on your list?
Okay, speaking of Frank Sinatra, they must be very militant in their suing, because that's the same with Married with Children. They weren't allowed to have love and marriage at the beginning of the show. When they re-put them out, they had to change the song. It's like, well, that's pretty synonymous with the show. It's like,
no kidding.
Yeah, so it must be a litigious Sinatra family. My next one is obviously, because I'm watching it, I want a scope dog, because they're cool, and just the classic.
That's funny you say that.
You just looked one up?
That's my next one.
yeah, they're cool. Especially when you watch a show, like, you weren't, originally you're just like, oh, they look cool, but now it's, I definitely want it after seeing the show. It's, a pretty classic model. And I love how the Chirico, everybody else has these new models. He always drives the old scope dog. You can always tell it's him, because he just gets it rebuilt every time, and because it gets destroyed every other show. But, yeah, it's pretty funny. So, that's my next. I'm pretty sure you can get the models from, Bandai, I think makes, is it Bandai? Somebody makes those scope dog models, but Hobby Link Japan, once again, I'm gonna have to shop at that
Hobby
place.
Link Japan. I mean, the thing, most of these models that we're talking about are hard to get in the States, is kind of probably why we were talking about them, which is another reason why I was going to go with the scope dog. Like you said, it's just a unique looking mech, with that little dome head and the camera eyes instead.
Yeah, the three different lenses, yeah.
Yeah, it just looks cool. I dig it.
You gotta watch the show, man. You gotta watch the show.
Definitely, it's on the list. But I'm very infatuated with the mech in itself. It's almost kind of what do you want to call it? Kind of a rustic look to it. Like it's not very super advanced. The lines aren't super.
No, it's very utilitarian.
The lines on the model, the lines on the model aren't graceful or anything. They're just kind of.
And the guys he's fighting, a lot of them are more graceful, and it's just pretty funny. Or the guys even he's fighting with, like they have the newer versions of them, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's got like the big dome head, which I like too.
Yeah. Looks like an old set of armor versus a new set of armor.
Yeah. And Pat, you got any more?
Not too much more. I mean, the thing is, I can go on for weeks.
Right.
Let's do one more each then. How's that?
One more each. So the last thing I want to get is the lighted 1/5000 Star Destroyer kit. The big one. It comes with the fiber optics and the lighting kit and everything ready for it to go. I'm thinking about my career of modeling, where I'm ready to move on to adding some lights.
Lighting kits, yeah. That's a big step up.
It is a big step up, and I've since bought some LEDs. I think I was a little inspired by my wife, because she was making those lighted models for her work. And I was thinking, I could do that as I'm building,
Nice.
So I think that's my next step. Is I won't like. I mean, the reason why I want the Star Destroyer model kit, because it's a lot of lights, and I'm not ready for that unless it's pre-laid out for me. I just want instructions. If I couldn't do it from scratch. I would not have the patience to do it from scratch.
Well, it's not you couldn't do it. It's you wouldn't have the patience to do it, because you have to lay every single one of those lights in the right spot.
Like a mech or a fighter, a starfighter, I could probably handle.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The little lighting kits.
Yeah, so that's on this year's Christmas, because it's quite. It could possibly happen, but
Well, if it does, you have to post pictures.
True.
Oh, yeah. Then I'll never get any reading done. And then, John, sorry, I didn't get to finish your book because I'm in the basement building a Star Destroyer.
Nice.
What do you got, Brian?
Well, I think for my last one, I think it's similarly to a lot of the Dead Zone projects that I've got, is I would love a, like, essentially Dead Zone board that is a MechBay Hanger, complete with like striders in different stages of assembly and everything like that, and to have a essentially like a nice big diorama, but also a fully functional, like, hey, I can play a game on this board. I think that would be really sweet. I have no idea. Well, actually, Uncertain Scenery has some great MDF stuff, and he not too long ago came out with a 2-deck essentially set of boards that's two things high as far as Dead Zone scale. So it's like 6 inches high.
6 inches high.
And I'm just like, But I just love that. I think that's where my brain's kind of. I've been really into Dead Zone recently, as you can probably tell, and so just like having more really engrossing boards and environments to play different scenarios and games in, I think would be a lot of fun. And I think a MechBay Hanger would be right up the alley of that.
I actually have one from Foreground. I actually won it from Beasts of War, like, I don't know, nice. five or 6 years ago. And I think it's about 1x1 scale. I have all my Gundams perched on it right now, but it's nice. we played some Dead Zone on it. I actually put a grid on it so you could play on it. It was pretty fun.
Oh, perfect.
I think it needs to be bigger, like you said, make it the full board, but it was still pretty fun to play in this little hangar, like trying to control the doorways and stuff, and it was fun. Mm-hmm. So even bigger would be even more fun, I think.
Oh yeah. And I want a giant game room, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's it. That's what you need, the room to have all these boards.
I'm in an apartment right now.
Yeah.
But what have you got, Rob? To bring us home?
I'm gonna go big. Well, first of all, I will say I did want Cyberpunk Red, the hardcover, but the shipping to Canada is like $50, so I don't think I'll be getting that anytime soon. But I did. I said I want to go big, so the last thing I want is the Starscream G1 statue from Sideshow Collectibles, and who else? Pop Cultural Shock makes it. $750. It is awesome. It's about, I would say it's about 3 feet tall, maybe 2.5 feet tall. It's, Starscream in all his glory, and it's cell shaded. The actual statue is cell shaded, so it looks cool. And, it's a little expensive, and once again, I would have nowhere to put it, but it is amazing. I love this thing.
Space is such a contiguous factor in decision making.
Yeah.
You might need to go old school, grade school, and start hanging your models that fly off your ceiling.
Yeah, that's right.
I do have a fishing line in my toolbox just for that kind of purpose. But I don't know if my wife will let me do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's always that, too.
Brian's got the same problem I have now. Will the wife let you do it?
I'm actually going to post it in the Facebook group so everybody can enjoy the Starscream. And, so anybody's significant other's been listening to this show. There's some ideas for what these people want. And
yes.
And, yeah, that's the way to get it. But
and anyone independently wealthy and looking just to buy stuff for a bunch of strangers.
For strangers.
Yeah, that's right. Pat can send you his address at any time.
Yeah, you can get us at mobilearmorradio@gmail.com. Any one of those things, we'll get to the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
But so please on the Facebook or wherever, Discord, discuss what you want for Christmas, and maybe some rich person will give it to you.
Or non-denominational
Or if
holiday.
you think there's something we might have missed, feel free to shout out. Because we don't all know everything either. And if there's any kind of kits or models or toys out there we might have missed that would have been awesome, let us know, because I'm always open.
And I do like seeing the things that I can't afford, but they're so cool.
I don't mind adding things to my list.
I feel sorry for Sarah.
Yeah, you probably should.
With that, we'll go to ExFil and we'll finish the show up.
Let's ExFil out of here.
Well, guys, it's the ExFil. I think we had another good show here, and we discussed everything we always want, and don't buy ourselves, even though we should.
It's true every year, every Christmas, but it's the fun part of the year.
Every Christmas, it's the same. Never get the things on my list.
Or you want, and you wish. And then sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
Yep.
So,
like a Mounds bar, like an Almond Joy or Mounds bar.
That's right. I don't know what that means.
You don't remember that old Mounds and Almond Joy commercial? Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Jesus Christ, come on.
You're always
I know the Forrest Gump saying, that's about it.
Oh, man.
You never know what you're going to get.
You guys need to watch a lot of 80s commercials on the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes. Yeah. Go to Mobile Armor Radio on YouTubes too. Check out the stuff. Pat did some unboxing. I did the Battletech unboxing. Hopefully get some more stuff on there. I have to remember to unbox stuff. And hopefully we'll have some more. We've had a lot of little special episodes. We had the Cyberpunk one, so maybe we'll get some more.
Sure.
We'll see how it goes. And if
we'll
not,
have more guests. Yeah. Maybe we'll have Brian Young on again, see if he's got something else coming on. Maybe he can talk to his good friend Michael Stackpole, and we can talk some Battletech stories with him. Hint, hint.
And and John Bear Ross, please write another Jumpship World book. We'd love to have you on for that too.
Oh yeah, we should have. We should need to get John. We're going to get John.
We're not going to get him on unless he writes a new book. This is the threat.
All right, John R. Martin, get a new book in it.
Other than that, yep, Mobile Armor Radio at gmail.com. We're on the Twitters. You can look us up. We're on Facebook. We're on Discord. Come on all those places. And have a happy holidays. And we'll see you in the new year.
This will be out before Christmas, but we won't be with you again until after Christmas. So
that's right.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy holidays.
Kwanzaa, whatever holidays you subscribe to.
Winter solstice.
Have a happy one.
Mm-hmm. Just
have
be
a
well.
Happy one. That's right. Yeah. Stay safe. Exactly. Keep your head down. Don't go outside.
Yeah, wear a mask.
Be excellent to one another. And party on, dudes.
That's right. Classic. I've been Rob.
Oh, come on, Brian.
I was going to let you do that one.
We just said it felt weird.
Okay.
It felt weird.
I've been Brian.
Was this our first episode again? Jeez.
And I've been Chopper.
We'll see you next time for more Mobile Armor Radio. Bye-bye.
Take that, 2020.
Goodbye.
Good riddance.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter at @MArmorRadio. Find us on iTunes and visit our website, mobilearmorradio.podbean.com. Join us on the first of every month for more Mecha discussion.